The fascinating underwater world that surrounds the legendary Cocos Island is a unique treasure. The biodiversity and vast populations of marine animals have turned the island into a paradise for both divers and marine biologists alike. The 28-meter-long Undersea Hunter originally supported the work of a number of small submarines. Since the beginning of the 1990s, this commercial boat has provided the transport for various diving expeditions between Costa Rica and Cocos Island. From the small harbour of Puntarenas, the journey of the Undersea Hunter and its experienced crew travels more than 500 kilometres in a southwesterly direction, far away from the economic problems of Costa Rica to an unspoiled and natural world. The journey from the mainland to the isolated and remote Cocos Island takes a little over 30 hours. It was once an ideal hideout for pirates. Indeed, there are many legends associated with the island. On board, the passengers are briefed and told of the safety procedures.
Everybody knows what one of these are? Everybody use one? You get away from the dive.
Does anybody know what this is? If you have somehow wandered away from the dive site and can no longer be seen by your colleagues, then you can place your mouthpiece beneath this gadget and fill it up with oxygen. Next, wrap it around your hands and pull it downwards. It will now mark your position. Don't hesitate to use these devices, they are there to be used. There's also an alarm whistle and an emergency light. To keep them dry, they're wrapped in black tape. To make sure that they're working efficiently, we test them each week. If you require the light, simply unwrap it and then unscrew this. When diving, you will come across several sharks, including the white reef shark, most likely a manta skate, and maybe also a marble skate.
On every dive you can see the marble rays and the whitetips. Every dive.
Next, the Undersea Hunter finds its first quarry. As soon as the divers are underwater, they're surrounded by several curious whitetip sharks. The surrounding reefs of Cocos Island are the ideal habitat for these striking and usually docile sharks. During the day, the whitetips are quite restful as they're nocturnal. They tend to relax on the seabed. However, despite their calm demeanor, they possess the typical characteristics that strike fear into the heart of man. But most of the encounters between humans and whitetips have been without serious incident. However, it's always best to treat them with a good modicum of respect. Only a few incidents have been reported in which the whitetips have attacked, and this was most likely because they felt threatened and so defended themselves in the only way they knew how. In the underwater caves, rocky alcoves and ocean bed around Cocos Island, there are huge numbers of whitetip sharks that can sometimes be found lying one on top of the other for long periods of time. Many of them return to their favorite locations again and again. For most divers, the first sight of a manta is an unforgettable experience. Although this large ray populates each of the world's oceans, encounters with this remarkable species are few and far between. Together with the grey and black-tip sharks, the smaller white-tip shark is one of the most common to be found in the tropical reefs of the Pacific Ocean. Although these sharks are mainly to be found in shallow waters, some have been sighted at depths of up to 330 meters. Most of them spend several months in one location prior to moving on. Yet they show little or no sign of territorial behavior. The white-tip sharks that inhabit the coast of Cocos Island are a little wary of man. They tend to keep a safe distance from the divers. Unlike other diving regions in the world that are more accessible and thus attract far greater numbers of divers, the fish here are not quite so accustomed to man. On board the Undersea Hunter, preparations are being made for the next dive. The ship is well equipped, and its professional diving instructors know these waters well. Cocos Island has retained its mysterious charm that dates back to pirate times. It was first mentioned in the diary of a Portuguese sea captain in 1526. Captain Johann Cabezas used seabirds to find the island, but it's doubtful that it was he who first discovered it. In the 17th century, this remote island was popular with numerous privateers. And hidden treasure is still a popular topic of conversation even today. The passengers are fascinated by tales of pirates and life on the ocean wave, but they've traveled to the Pacific for something far more tangible. Their real interest lies in the underwater world of Cocos Island. The diving equipment is checked one last time before it's lowered into the depths of the ocean that in this region is between a warm 23 and 27 degrees Celsius. This time the divers encounter a colourful school of blue-striped snapper, a species that is common in the Indo-Pacific region. They feed on invertebrates. This dive reveals the ocean's beauty in all its splendor. As on most coral reefs, the great biodiversity and vast populations of fish immediately catch the attention of the divers. The waters that surround Cocos Island are amazing. The importance of this coral reef is inestimable, as several species of fish are endemic here and can thus only be found around this small island. Such beauty makes it easy to forget the dangers that lie within these waters. The underwater paradise in the rocks off Cocos Island can be deceptive. From behind the rocks, a shoal of hammerheads, one of the most intelligent and dangerous predators on Earth, can suddenly appear. The shallow reefs are home to trumpet fish that feed on smaller fish and crustaceans and have a striking appearance. Sharks only rarely attack humans. The hammerheads are far more interested in the huge shoals of fish around the reefs. These and various shellfish are their main source of nourishment. The biodiversity of the waters off Cocos Island did not remain undiscovered for long. Scientists and marine biologists, such as the Frenchman Jacques Cousteau and Austrian Hans Haas, developed much interest in the island and traveled to this remote location in the South Pacific to document the beauty of this special place. The first expeditions of both explorers date back to the 1950s. Soon their documentaries of marine life attracted divers from all over the world. Fortunately, Cocos Island is far off the tourist trail. Hans Haas made history as one of the first marine biologists to build a fully functional and reliable underwater camera. The pictures he took revealed a new and fantastic world that had until then been totally undiscovered. The coastal reefs of Cocos Island are among the most important natural habitats in this section of the Pacific. The volcanic rocks and plants of this underwater world provide shelter and food for various creatures. And this reef is one of the largest in the southeastern Pacific. Be it colorful shoals of fish or an overwhelming number of creatures, behind each rock a new and natural beauty can be discovered. It's a true world of wonder. As beautiful as this unique natural habitat may be, diving in the waters off Cocos Island is not for the inexperienced. Hazardous currents and a large number of predatory fish are a constant threat. The island has a total of 14 diving locations, and each has its own particular character and charm. But even this paradise is not without its problems. In recent years, there have been several reports of illegal fishing in these waters. Commercial fishing methods have already caused much damage here. The divers are loath to leave the underwater splendor, but the Undersea Hunter is ready to move on, as close by there are further beautiful locations to explore. Chatham Bay is one of 3 bays that is situated in the north of Cocos Island. This section of the coast is where most of the dives are located for those on board the Undersea Hunter. From the boat, the geological origins of the island are plain to see, as it was created by 2 volcanoes. Just how remote Cocos Island really is can be seen from this map of the world. For the historic seafarers of Europe, an almost impossible distance. On their way to the next dive, there's enough time to take a closer look at this legendary island that contains so many valuable natural treasures. The Undersea Hunter is well equipped for diving in remote areas such as Cocos Island. Its modern equipment is extremely well maintained. The camera equipment is also checked. In order to film in the darker areas of the reefs, it's necessary to use artificial lighting. A small boat takes the divers to a special location just off the island. Due to its size and draft, the Undersea Hunter is unable to venture into the shallows. Our destination is a location that for some years has been known to attract a large number of hammerheads and stingrays. Well camouflaged and hidden in the ocean bed is a particularly beautiful specimen of large stingray. But the seabed not only provides camouflage, it also provides an important source of food for its strangely shaped sea life. Most rays feed on small crustacea and shells. As with the shark, the ray is a member of the cartilage species. However, in comparing a stingray to a ray, it is difficult to believe that there's such a close relationship between these unusual flatfish and the shark. In the Upper Jurassic period, the ray was an ancestor of the shark. Today, this relationship is not an advantage. To the contrary. The reason for the remarkable number of hammerheads in the waters around Cocos Island is due to the large population of rays. The ray is the favorite food of the hammerhead. The rays defend themselves against attack by their sting glands that, in the case of the stingray, are highly poisonous and should not be underestimated. But their best form of protection is camouflage. With their flat bodies and the gills that are located on their lower side, they have adapted perfectly to life on the seabed. The biodiversity of the stingray family is surprisingly large. In this group alone, there are 89 species and 10 different varieties. The presence of the divers is not appreciated by this stingray. He attempts to escape and disappears. Despite its dangerous stingers that even enable it to cut through the bottom of small boats, the ray is not at all aggressive. To man, the ray is mainly docile. Danger only arises when it is provoked or cornered. But who could harm such a majestic and graceful creature? One particular type of ray attracts almost as many legends as Cocos Island itself, the devil ray. Ever since it was first discovered, this creature has captured man's imagination. Despite their elegant appearance, Many sailors of the 18th and 19th centuries told horrific tales of the devil ray. But their stories of the devil ray and giant manta as killer demons of the deep were pure fantasy. These impressive, up to 6-meter long creatures are absolutely harmless to man. They only feed on plankton and small fish. Giant mantas also differ from other rays in the way that they swim, as they move their fins as gently as the breeze, and are able to jump over a meter out of the water despite their huge proportions and weight. Our next destination is up to the northern coastal waters of Cocos Island, that in 1997 was designated as an official national park of Costa Rica. The Undersea Hunter raises its anchor. Although remote, Cocos Island has always acted as a magnet, but not only to various famous explorers. Numerous ill-reputed pirates recognized the advantages of the islands. The remote and sheltered bays were the perfect hiding place for the ships of various buccaneers. In those days, Cocos Island was densely overgrown and almost completely inaccessible, the perfect hideout. However, the crew of the Undersea Hunter are now busy preparing the air tanks for the next dive. The diving equipment is almost always in use, as the sea possesses at least as many treasures as the island. It's hoped that we'll come across a couple of large hammerheads on the next dive, and with a little luck, perhaps we'll even spot an even rarer fish. But instead of the hoped-for whale shark, the largest fish in the world, the divers have to be satisfied with a very small but beautiful creature that lingers within the ocean's plant life. Eventually, more fish appear. This area appears to be dominated by the snapper. The plant life beneath the water is like that of an enchanted garden. Both the surroundings of Cocos Island and its marine flora are protected as they form the basis of this unique habitat. Here it is rare to spot only a single fish. So diverse and full of life is the ocean surrounding this island that began to rise from the bottom of the Pacific around 2.5 million years ago as a result of volcanic activity. The lava streams solidified long ago and eventually formed the reefs for the fascinating ocean creatures that live here in such abundance. The various colours and shapes of the fish are constantly fascinating and impressive. Due to the great technical achievements of the 20th century, it's become possible for man to venture into this magical underwater world and become part of it, thus enabling him to observe the fascinating marine life that would otherwise go unseen. There's a unique atmosphere and camaraderie underwater. Each member of the expedition has clearly enjoyed the dive. Now they're gradually making their way to the surface. Now, following all the spectacular experiences of the coastal waters of Cocos Island, everyone is eager to visit the legendary Pirates' Hideout. Chatham Bay, one of the few good landing places here, lies in the northeast of the island. Travelling by kayak, the passengers of the Undersea Hunter eventually set foot on land for the first time in many days. Cocos Island has remained mostly uninhabited right up to the present day. How many pirates have rowed ashore here in order to hide their ill-gotten loot? According to legend, some of the most valuable treasures in the world are still hidden on this island. Today, the legendary Cocos Island is not frequented by buccaneers, but by rangers. They ensure that the laws of the national park are adhered to, and are also constantly on the lookout for shark poachers. Tourists are not allowed to spend the night on land. Each night, they must return to their boat. The only permanent residents here are the park's employees. In recent years, these new rulers of the island have adjusted well to their isolated existence. The result of previous ships' cargoes, cats, goats and pigs, have since spread throughout the island. However, the pigs now pose a serious ecological threat to the island as they destroy the vegetation and uproot its plants. Treasure hunters also transformed the appearance of the island as they attempted to blast their way to a hidden fortune. But the wealth of vegetation of the only tropical rainforest in the entire Eastern Pacific region proves to be stronger than man's insatiable greed. The longest treasure hunt in the history of Cocos Island dates back to August Gissler, a German who spent a total of 20 years on the island. In 1897, Gissler even became governor of the island. But his treasure hunt was unsuccessful, and his efforts to build up a permanent colony on the island were doomed to failure.
One of our many duties here on the island is to maintain its infrastructure, the buildings, tourism, and the ocean itself. But our most important responsibility is to protect all of this region's natural environment. As you can see, we have many ancient trees here, trees that have been left to flourish. Of course, the sea is vital to us. It's a source of the island's prosperity. We have a 15-kilometre protection zone around the island. For the tourists who come here, there are 3 walking routes. One begins in Chatham Bay and leads up the island's highest mountain, Cerro Iglesias. The second path leads to one of the island's many magnificent waterfalls. The largest plunges 60 metres into the depths below. A third path leads to the site of a wrecked aircraft that crashed in 1943 during the Second World War.
One of the most fascinating aspects of the island lies in the past, when Cocos Island served as a hideout for various privateers.
It is said that the island still possesses a number of hidden treasures. Among them, the famous church treasures of Lima that are thought to be the most impressive of all. They are believed to contain huge quantities of gold, gems and valuable statues, including a large and remarkable image of the Virgin Mary that is said to be adorned with thousands of precious stones. Another famous hidden booty belonged to pirate Pedro Benito Bonito, who was also known as Do Pedro of the Bloody Sword, a former captain of the British Navy who later favoured a far more profitable profession. It is believed that early in the 19th century, Do Pedro Bonito hid more than 7 tons of gold on the island.
Era lo que me iba a decir usted, que casi toca la gloria con G. Entrando con el link. No, y te me marcaste la bonita rica que venía, la perdí. Que no me dije que lo perdí.
Later, various treasure hunters followed. Official visits to the island have been such a rarity that to commemorate the visit here of the President of Costa Rica in 1978, there is a plaque in memory of this event. The park's employees seem to enjoy their life here. It really is a paradise. But the hammocks on Chatham Bay are often empty, as there's always much work to do on the island. Despite the remoteness and extreme climate of Cocos Island, it has a very relaxed atmosphere. On board the Undersea Hunter that lies anchored in the bay, someone's been busy, as can be seen by this splendid blue snapper. Tonight's dinner is assured. The ship's cook sharpens his knife. The meal is very much appreciated by one and all. The dives and the trip to the island have created several hearty appetites. The Undersea Hunter's cook enjoys his work and often amazes his guests with a good selection of delicious, freshly caught fish. The food on board is never wasted, thus the head and bones of the blue snapper are dangled into the water to attract any sharks that may be lurking nearby. Suddenly, the first shark arrives on cue. No other species of fish has such a highly developed sense of smell as that of the shark. It can detect the slightest scent from some distance away. Its powerful bite is almost as impressive, and so it's wise to release the bait immediately. As the sharks gradually move away from the ship, the passengers relax on the main deck in the Undersea Hunter's lounge. There are various forms of entertainment that range from TV, videos and DVDs to numerous games and a slide projector. It's a great place to relax while waiting for dinner. In the well-equipped galley, the evening meal is being prepared. Both passengers and crew can look forward to a tasty treat. Due to the Undersea Hunter's large pantries and deep freezers, those on board can cook for themselves for up to 4 weeks. Thus, long journeys can be undertaken with ease. For the passengers and crew, the long-awaited moment has finally arrived. Dinner is ready. The smell of the fish is extremely appetizing and has made everyone feel hungrier than ever. At the end of the day, such a meal is more than welcome. The strength of the divers must be renewed as the next day will begin early with yet another dive down into the depths of the ocean. The cook certainly scored a hit, much to the delight of all the passengers on board the Undersea Hunter. While the passengers are enjoying their meal, a stowaway has sneaked up on deck, hoping that it too will get a taste of the cook's creation. But on this boat, everyone only has eyes for the creatures that live in the mighty nocturnal world below. Due to this exceptional habitat and its fantastic biodiversity, it's no wonder that the waters of Cocos Island attract divers from all over the world. Nevertheless, the island and the sea creatures that inhabit its coastal waters have been spared mass tourism. Thanks to its designation as a national park, this peaceful atmosphere will remain unspoiled. The rocky areas in the sea off Cocos Island are an ideal environment for the lobster, a creature that is particularly popular with gourmets. A crustacean, the lobster is a member of the long-tailed crayfish family. This lobster appears to be quite curious. At least he doesn't seem to be afraid of the divers. This hawksbill turtle, on the other hand, is a far more uncommon sight. In recent years, this ocean turtle has become an endangered species. It is hunted for its carapace, as it's used for various types of souvenir. The hawksbill turtle can reach a size of up to 1.2 meters and weighs around 90 kilograms. It's a medium-sized turtle. This cumbersome creature allows itself to be followed by the divers. Ocean turtles are amazing creatures. Even after 20 years of wandering through the oceans of the world, in order to lay their eggs, they return to the beach where they were born. Scientists have estimated that this remarkable species is around 150 million years old. Apart from man, only the shark is its natural enemy. But it is man that has almost completely exterminated several species of turtle in the last 100 years. It would be unforgivable if, due to greed, the most intelligent creature in the world proves to be responsible for the extinction of one of the most extraordinary creatures of the ocean. Eventually, the close proximity of the divers begins to concern the hawksbill turtle, so it tries to escape. Just like the turtles, the divers must also return to the surface for air. The nearer they get to the boat, the more impressive is the natural spectacle of light that appears in the water. The mysterious magnetism of Cocos Island has been immortalized in world literature. For Robert Louis Stevenson, the legendary Cocos Island served as inspiration for his famous novel Treasure Island. It is of course unknown how many have been inspired by Stevenson's book to come here in the last century in search of pirates' gold. Today, only a small number of scientists have permission to remain on the legendary island for more than a few days.
My name is Richard, and I came here from Argentina.
My name is Richard. I come from Argentina and I am a professional biologist.
And how long do you stay here? Oh, we are here about...
How long have you been on the island?
for a year more, perhaps to the October of next
I have been here for 4 months and intend to remain for a further 8. Myself and my colleagues are researching the erosion here caused by rainfall and also the behaviour of the island's wild pigs and their effect on the ecosystem of Cocos Island.
because people say that the pigs are broken environmental ecology.
We are currently making a note of some of the animals that we encountered yesterday during our travels across the Cerro Iglesias. 650 metres above sea level, the Cerro Iglesias is the highest point on the island.
Of scat pigs that we got yesterday walking to the top of Cerro Iglesias.
How did the pigs get here?
It's the most high mountain here.
The pigs were brought to the island in around 1793. It is believed that whalers brought them ashore and for some unknown reason left them here. The pigs gradually proliferated. However, there are some who believe that they are now a serious threat to the island's vegetation. Thus myself and another biologist, plus an assistant, are here to discover whether the pigs are indeed a threat.
And well, a couple of pigs in two centuries had time and food to reproduction, and well, some people think that now the pigs are a problem in the island. So a biologist, a geobiologist and I, and her assistant, are trying to find if that reason is true or not true.
Due to its remoteness, this picturesque tropical island is a workplace of which most can only dream. But even this beautiful fantasy has come to an end, and we begin our return journey to the Undersea Hunter that has anchored in Chatham Bay. Most of those on board have already decided that this visit won't be their last. Even though no one has discovered buried treasure, each member of the expedition has been made richer by their many wonderful impressions of this wonderful island. The real value of this former pirate hideaway cannot be compared with gold and diamonds. Its immeasurable wealth of nature is the true treasure of Cocos Island. Cocos Island, paradise on earth, surrounded and protected by the vastness of the Pacific Ocean.